have 7:03. And, oh, there's Stu, just came on. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:03. There you are, Stu. Can you hear us? Stu? You have your mic turned off, Stu. Can you hear us?
Unmute.
No, I can't hear you, Stu.
Unmute, Stu. Go to the bottom of the screen, to the left. At the bottom, it says mute and unmute. We can't hear you.
No. See your mouth moving, but I can't hear you.
I can't read lips. Now he's muted. I can see he's muted.
Yeah, right.
Now is he muted?
Now you're all good. You're good.
Good, good. How about that?
Okay. It's 7:04 and I'll call the meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the November 24th meeting. Now, did everyone get a copy of the minutes of the 24th?
I did.
Yes.
You did, okay. I didn't get a copy of them, so, because I didn't get my package. It got lost somewhere between Connecticut and Florida. So I've got everything by email, but I didn't get the November minutes. So if we could, we'll put that off to, because I'd like to get a look at them before we approve them. If we could just put that off until the February meeting.
I'd move to forward to just make the approval of the December meeting minutes in February.
Okay, could I have a second?
Mike's November meeting.
November 24th meeting.
Yep.
Yeah, that's in
Yeah.
Oh,
November.
yeah, okay, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. It's approved. We'll go on to item number 3, new business and pump station maintenance. Stu, I think I sent you a text, but I talked to Putnam Sewer System Maintenance Department and Mike Dodato, and he's willing to put in our new pump. We have a rebuilt 25 horsepower pump for the main pumping station at the fairgrounds. And we want to replace pump number 1, which seems to be running a little bit slow, pumping a little bit slower. So we want to put in the rebuilt pump and take out the pump and have it looked at. So, but in the spring, I talked to Mike Dodato, the maintenance foreman and for Putnam, and they can replace it for us. So they'll work it into their schedule in probably the 1st of April. Unless
Hey,
we,
great. Roger might point out that's a 15 horsepower pump, not a 25.
15, okay, sorry about that. I'm
Nope,
correct.
nope. No problem.
So we'll be doing that in the near future. Let's see, second. Service calls. We've only had a couple. We had one at the apartment houses on Route 171. And they have a dual pump system. Each well has 2 pumps in it. And we have building number 2 running on 1 pump right now. So one of items of business is to talk about purchasing new 2 horsepower pumps for the wet wells that we have throughout the town. So, but that's, and I talked to Glenn Boyce today, and he still hasn't put the, we have one pump left, right, in the Connex, Stu?
Yes, we do.
And what the thing is, he has to rebuild that with the parts from the pump in the well, so. And he's only working by himself, so he hasn't got around to doing that yet. We've been, so that pump, that number 2 apartment house is running on one pump right now. And it has been for a little bit.
Now, are those pumps on the property where the apartment house is?
Pardon?
Are those wet
Are you-
wells and those pumps on the property where the apartments are?
Yeah. The ones, there's one out on the road on 171, and then there's 2 apartment houses down the long road off of 171.
Yep.
It's the right-hand building as you go down, as you're facing one building, it's the building to the right.
Okay, so where are the wet wells located?
On that building, it's up and back.
It's in
So you
back
have
of the
to
building.
go up the opposite end of the building from where you're looking at from the parking lot.
Yep.
And that's the one that they broke through, ran over the well cover and broke the well cover, broke up the electrical box into pieces. And so we charged them for it. And I don't know whether we got paid yet, but Doug Hurd, the owner of it, didn't have any problem paying for that. So, yeah, let's see, anything else about service calls that you know, Stu or Tim?
No, I didn't get any calls.
No.
Okay.
The only thing that we were talking about the maintenance, or I had when they changed out the radiator on our generator, they did not change the oil on the generator, and I have contacted John Buell, and he's going to get in there and do his annual service on that unit.
Okay, that's right. You're going to check to see if they had changed the oil from the last time. Yep. Oh, that's good. So probably wait for the spring, a little bit warmer weather, Stu.
Well, I think John will probably be in if he hasn't done it already.
Yeah.
And I don't believe he has because we haven't got an invoice on it. But I told him I'd like to get it done, January, February.
Okay,
So we've got
good.
about a year on it.
Yeah. All right. That's good. And on service calls, we had one, let's see, we've met since Christmas Day. We had that one, Stu and I met at the pump station on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
We had a service call, and high water. That was the day we had that evening, we had a lot of rain. And our high water alarm went off when we went down there, and everything was running all right. It was running on both pumps. When it gets up to the high water line and sets off, both pumps are running at the same time. But they were pumping okay, and we kept up with it, and didn't seem to be any problem. It was just all of a sudden they had a big flow of water coming down from up above. So.
Roger, what we should let them know, what we did do was we changed, it's got a lead lag arrangement on the 2 pumps in our wet well down there. And we changed the lead pump over, and at that point in time, the new lead pump was able to keep up with the incoming flow and not have to rely on a second pump to clear the wet well.
Good, okay, yeah, right, and let's see. Yeah, that's all we did, and that number 2 pump, I did a survey a while back, and in 59 days, over 59 days, and that number 1 pump was running approximately 2 hours a day, and versus only 0.6 of an hour per day for number, 2 pump. So that's why by changing it over, I think we'll put less hours on that number 1 pump. So,
So you said you had a high flow on December 1st.
pardon?
You said you had a high flow on December 1st and it really,
December 25th,
oh,
that was at
25th.
Christmas.
Okay,
We had an awful lot of rain
yep.
and probably it leaked in all around with the high water table, so. But it,
John, that comes, if I could, that comes about when we get flow coming in. The pumps run off float switches. And if the level continues to rise, it will get up to a point where the second pump will cut in.
Right.
And at that point, we get an alarm from our alarm company, say we've got a high water alarm. Could be one pump is off the line, not pumping, but in this case, it was just that the one pump that was calling for use couldn't keep up with the flow.
So you think you've got surface water getting into there, or you got groundwater?
well, we do have some service. We don't have an airtight system. But
So you're pumping water
And-
instead of sewage.
clean water, yeah. Yeah. But just to bring you up to date a little bit, John, we did have quite a long, big section of our piping system rehabilitated. What was that, about 3 years ago? Steve?
Yeah, 3 to 4.
Yeah. So
you had- So you had some inflow problems on the sewer lines in the past.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The system is over 25 years old.
Yep.
So
Well, it's also normal for most sewer systems to have some I&I. You know,
Right.
Putnam has problems with it. I think most municipalities do. It's just being able to control it.
I think on a case like that Christmas day when we had all that rain, I think
Mhm.
just the pressure gets so great, it comes in, any little place it can come
Right.
in, it gets there, so. But we have been running up until recently, the figures I've seen today. But up until recently, we've been running pretty low figures. If we're 500 or less, I think that's good for us.
Mhm.
So,
John, the pump station handles all the sewer system that is to the north of the service gate at the Woodstock Fair.
Yep.
Anything south of the service gate, which would include the old Anhurst property and
Yep.
things, did not have an effect on our wet well within the pumping station.
It's everything that's coming down to the main gate area.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Uh,
And that
down
comes-
down to Java Jive there.
Yep.
That includes number of customers on 171 and then up into what we consider Old Lindgren Village.
Yep.
And now the elementary school,
Mhm.
the inn at Woodstock Hill and Woodstock Academy.
Academy, right, got it. Thank you.
But right now, the fairgrounds has a plug in their line, and there's no water coming down into our system from theirs.
I don't know whether, Tim, I don't know whether they put one in this year or not. When we were looking, that the Christmas Day, when we looked in there, there was still a little bit of water coming in from the infrastructure from the fairgrounds. But we're not as concerned with that because they're the only metered system on our line that meters the outflow that comes into our system.
Mhm.
So if they get clean water coming in, at least they're
They're
gonna be
paying for it.
paying for it.
Correct.
So that's,
And obviously, there's no issue with Putnam's plant having a capacity problem with any extra water coming down from Woodstock because they already picked up Pomfret, or they're picking up
Yes.
Pomfret.
yep,
So that means they have excess capacity anyway to process. And as long as your users are paying the cost of any, water infiltration coming in when you have high flows like that.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not hurting the town.
Well,
Well,
Yeah.
we're on, most of our residential customers are on EDU payment,
Flat rate.
one. And unfortunately, I think they get the brunt of paying for all the,
Extra.
any excess that come in, because there's 140 of them and only 10 metered customers, so.
Yep.
we also have a contract with Putnam that allows us to discharge about 100,000 gallons a day,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Yep.
Although they haven't complained when we go over that, because they're, especially with the new pumping system that they put in spent a lot of money on new equipment and everything. So not that we charge a little bit more per 1,000 gallons for the metered customers, because they don't they pay for exactly what comes out of their wells. So they,
Right. Sure.
so we charge them a little bit more to pay for some of the leakage that we have
Mhm.
in our system.
Okay,
So,
thanks.
anything else on service calls or anything to the system? We'll go to purchasing a new pump. Stu,
Yeah, we
Wanna
got when we talk about new pumps, we're talking about the 2 horsepower, 230 volt, single phase, grinder pumps that we have. Uh, we've got, we've got one in stock, which is, certainly going to go out of stock. So and because of the age of the system, we're anticipating we're going to have more and more pumps failing. We try to get them rebuilt if we can. We've had 3 pumps down at Peeler, down in Norwich, and those particular pumps, the 2 horsepower pumps, it was not feasible to rebuild them. We could rebuild them, but the cost was way too much. I've got three quotes so far, and one of them's got a little whiskers on it, so we'll have to check it out. But on the submersible grinder pumps, I've got a price of $1,711, $1,568, and $1,960. Those are not including freight. These things weigh about 100 pounds a piece.
Mhm.
Standard pump comes with a 30-foot umbilical cord on it, electrical cord. They're sealed. As Roger pointed out, the parts and the adapters to our wet well, we've got those parts in our trailer that we try to salvage as much as we can, and Glenn puts them back together as he slips them back into the wet well.
Yep.
We've also got, one of the things to consider is that about 2 or 3 years ago, we initiated a change that up until that point, the WPCA was responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the grinder pumps. 2 or 3 years ago, we made a change that now, if you're on our system and you have a grinder pump, we will maintain it. But if you happen to sell your house to Roger, then along with the house, he buys the responsibility of upkeep on the grinder pump, and we no longer have to have the responsibility of the maintenance on that grinder pump.
we've changed our policy and procedure manual,
Uh-huh.
which said, and we've inserted that statement that from 2015 on, October, I think it was, any houses that change ownership, the new owner takes responsibility
For the pump.
of the equipment in the well. And we'll help them out as far as directing them, but it's just that it's their responsibility to pay for whatever goes wrong with it.
What do we
And
do? We own probably, what, 40 or 50 grinder pumps right now?
now 22 houses with grinder pumps.
Okay, but some, like over Brookwood, have duplex units,
Yes, right.
two grinder
Yep,
pumps.
right. Yeah, I don't have a count on the, like the schools and have a dual pump system and the apartment houses. So I don't have an exact count of,
So the town has historically owned the pumps?
Yes,
Named them?
what's
yes.
that, John?
The town has historically owned and maintained the pumps. So we still own the pumps, but we're requiring them, the owners of the properties, to maintain the pumps.
They're going to take responsibility if they change the ownership, right?
Okay, so if they change the ownership, are you still maintaining the pumps and just
No.
charging the cost? Or is it
No.
on your dime entirely?
Yep,
Would they then own the pumps?
yeah, right,
That would be my point.
yeah,
Because then that way, if it's their pump and it fails, it's their responsibility to fix it.
right. Well, that's why I
Right.
say we will direct them, but
That would make more sense. And because the pumps are located on their property too, right?
yes,
Yes.
yep. Everyone has a
Right.
a deeded right away to the system, but it's just that
Yeah.
they own.
But
just
they're
like you- Go ahead.
they're still advised to call the town if there's an issue, right?
Yes, if they, especially, we send them a letter when the ownership of the house changes hands.
Right.
And we send them a letter telling them that they have accepted ownership in it, but if they need assistance and they give my name, whoever the chairman is at the time,
Mhm.
that they'll can call for assistance and we'll guide them.
Mhm.
But it's not our responsibility.
Correct.
Yeah, the trouble is that not all plumbers are familiar with that system. So we have a couple that we work with and we can direct them, to those plumbers.
Yeah, and that's something I'm going to put on the agenda for our next meeting is talking to Glenn. He's working all by himself. He's swamped and
The one-armed paper hanger.
yes, and so he was, and I think he's downsizing. He's not taking any new customers. I know that.
Yeah.
So we should be looking for someone else to bring on board to help out in that category.
Yep.
And I'm going to put that on the agenda for our next meeting. So
Now, Stu, I have one question for you. We're getting these new grinder pumps, or should be ordering some. But what about the control boxes? Because that's been an issue
those
in the
are-
past.
I'm
they're
sorry.
They're fixed to the side of the equipment inside the wet well. So
No, but I
that's
mean,
ours.
Are we ordering new control boxes as well? Because, Chaput was talking about the fact that a lot of these boxes are older and the parts are becoming, less obtainable. And, he was concerned about that.
And you're probably also going to have corrosion problems inside the boxes.
We have, to
Yeah,
answer your question, Tim, no, we have not ordered any control boxes. What we do is down in our Connex box, we keep relays and starting capacitors and things of that nature. And Glenn has been able to, he has a key, goes in, gets our inventory and lets us know. We just put in an additional 6 starting capacitors in inventory down there. And we don't have a replacement float system in inventory down there, but most everything else, we've got a couple in the control box. There are relays, there are starting capacitors, run capacitors, and contacts, breakers. The 30-foot umbilical cord that comes from these pumps, come with these pumps, actually snake right up and are attached to the control system within the wet well.
We do have a float system, Chaput,
Do we?
last time he ordered, he had to replace a float system at the apartments, and he also ordered an extra one. I asked him to keep, and he keeps some of that stuff in his garage down there off of Fairground Road there. So he does have a box of stuff down there, but I like to try to keep a handle on the inventory that what we have around. So I can sort of keep track of that stuff.
Where's your Connex box storage trailer?
It's between the round building, I mean, just to, you've got the round building over by Hyde School.
Yep.
And it's just before you get to the middle school on that same side. There's a town has a two bay garage there that
Okay.
they keep lawnmowers and stuff in, and the Connex container is right next to that.
Okay.
It's dry. We've organized it a little bit, so it's not quite as, we've got some rings, so when they resurface roads, they have to bring the manholes up a little bit. And in fact, they're going to be resurfacing 169 from the Vanilla Bean or down that from 101 all the way up to where it hits 171 in Woodstock.
Yep.
And we have about 5 manholes there that John has, I asked him to take a look at them and has to report to the state how many we have and what we need for rises for them.
Mhm.
So, and that I can assume in the good weather that the state is going to get after that road.
Right.
So, but we're usually notified when they're going to do some resurfacing in the areas of our manholes.
Mhm.
Anything else on service calls, purchasing the new pumps? So I would like a motion to, Stu, you've talked, got these 3 quotes. Would you want to, I think we ought to order 2 pumps right away.
Okay, if with Edge, who I need to reaffirm their figure, they were at $1,567.50. That would be plus freight.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to go with 2?
I would say 2 right now.
Well, we're going to be pulling those other ones down there at Line Master, right?
Right, yeah, we'll get at that one as soon as the weather gets nicer, Tim.
Yeah.
John, what he's talking about is on the corner of 171 and 169, where there used to be the old Harvest restaurant.
Yep.
They tore that building down. They were on our sewer system. They have a wet well over there with 2 pumps that are actually in the wet well system. I quite honestly, because they're aged, don't hold a lot of hope for them, but we've got to yank those out of there. And then what we've done is we send them down to Peeler, and Peeler Electric will give us their impressions on whether they're rebuildable or not.
And how much?
If they're not rebuildable, Peeler does not charge us anything for the inspection. If they are rebuildable, in the past, we've been able to get them rebuilt for about $650.
Mhm.
So that is, basically a third of the cost of what we're looking at for a new one.
Right.
And the one that we have in inventory now is a rebuilt pump.
We sent 4 down to them just recently, right, Stu? And of the 4, none of them were salvageable, I don't believe.
Well, we sent 4 pumps down, 3 of them with 2 horsepower, and the 2 horsepowers couldn't be rebuilt, and we rebuilt the 15 horsepower that is in our pump station now, waiting for reinstallation for $2,500. That pump, best price I can get on that pump right now is around 5,000.
To replace it.
Right, yeah, those, I think we paid 7,500 for the new pump at the fairgrounds. The last time we bought one, it was I thought it was somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Maybe that was installation and everything. I really don't know. I can't remember. So, well, could I entertain a motion to purchase 2 new
Yeah, I'll
2
make a-
horsepower pumps?
Yeah, I'll make a motion
At
that.
the best price and best deal that Stu can work. Did I hear anybody say anything?
Can I second that?
All right, yeah, I'll make a motion that we get Stu to take the, the reins on this and get those pumps ordered. Now,
Okay,
although I do have one question before we do this.
yep,
Stu, those pumps, are they all, you've got 3 different bids, are they all for the same pump essentially? I mean, the same manufacturer, same specs on it?
Yes, they're for the Barnes model SGVF 2022L, which is a 2 horsepower, 240 volt, single phase, 3450 RPM, 15 amp drawer, 30-foot cord, and 1.25 inch discharge.
Okay, so apples and apples then. Okay, that's
Apples
fine.
and apples.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we get Stu to order these things and get moving on it.
okay, could I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, any other questions on it? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
I will,
Uh,
once I
Thank-
confirm the price on it, I will email everyone confirming the price.
Okay, and include Cindy?
That would certainly include Cindy.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, item number 4, from number 5. The letter on Flushing. Did everyone get a copy of that?
Yep.
And Paul brought this to my attention that this was one that we could send out to everyone because the letter we sent out was just to grinder pump, the past letter. Because those are the things that get tangled up in, excuse me. When a grinder pump, even if it's our responsibility, John and Paul, when a grinder pump gets jammed up, and if we find when we inspect the problem, that it's something caused by the homeowner, then we'll charge them for the repair.
Sure.
But if it's just through natural problems, it'll be our nickel that the plumber goes out there, unless there's changed ownership. So we sent them, the grinder pump people, letters already telling them what to put down their wells, down their toilets,
What not to put down their toilets.
what not to, right? And we really have had pretty good luck with most of them. We have one absentee owner that has a 4-family, and that is the worst looking wet well I've seen and gets clogged up the most. And so, but this letter goes out to everyone. And as Paul pointed out to me, it's going to come through our pumps at the pumping station if it's beyond north of Java Jive. So it behooves us to make them aware of the same situation.
Mhm.
And that grease and all that other stuff is hazardous to put down there also.
Yep.
So in there, when the tax bills go out and our bills we send a bill out in July 1st. Same as the tax bills go out, and we'll include a letter for everyone about what to put down there. And I think this one, did you get a chance to look at over, Paul?
Yes, I did. That's the one that I had gotten a couple of years back. So,
Yeah.
this will have to be a separate mailing then that goes out to everybody?
No, it would be a mailing that would go out to everyone with their bills this July 1st.
Okay, so if it's people that aren't on the, oh, that's right, because I forgot. Everyone pays the fee whether they have a grinder pump or not. Everyone is on it, right? So you're
Yes,
talking about the
everyone's on
sewer usage fee? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yep.
so they get a bill the 1st of July, and so we'll include this with it. And hopefully just make them aware. You'd like to say everything but human waste and toilet paper goes down there, but we know that's not the case. And talking to Putnam, I asked Putnam, are you concerned about this? What goes down? They say, nope, doesn't bother them a bit.
They should be.
I know, but that surprised me.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
this was when Brian Lynch and Mike Dodaro were brand
Suez?
new. Pardon?
Suez?
No, this was after Suez.
Oh,
When Brian Lynch and Mike Dodaro came in to work for Putnam, but they came from a sewer system down in Ledyard down that way.
Mhm.
And but they didn't seem concerned about it. So I was surprised.
what it means for them is a lot of this stuff here that you're saying not to put in, which can't be treated, ends up being a part of the stuff that they end up having to get rid of.
Yeah,
Because it's not wastewater, it's not processable at all. And it becomes a solid waste problem at the water pollution control plant,
yeah.
basically what it is at the sewer plant. I can tell you a couple funny stories. In my last days at DEP, my last years, I was running the park system in the field operations for all the state parks in Connecticut. And so I dealt with anything from the rural parks like a Mashmucket and Aquatic Lake, all the way down to the beach parks, many of which were on public sewer lines. And at Sherwood Island State Park, which is down in Westport, Connecticut, in the panhandle of the state, they're on the sewer line, but they have a lift station and they have to have a grinder pump as well. So, and they're processing coming out of the bathroom buildings, okay? And the grinder pumps would get jammed up a lot. And
Oh, I
they'd have
bet.
to send somebody in to take them apart because they were finding swimsuits, sneakers, beach toys,
I can believe it. Just
things that you
looking at
couldn't
what we
imagine
put up.
people could flush down the toilet.
Yeah, yeah,
They found it
yeah, I
jammed
bet.
up in their sewer pump.
Yeah,
And so this is
Well-
this is a real thing that people need to be aware of. And
Yeah.
anyone
and
with a
and
grinder pump,
we like to make them aware of it because it's going to
Absolutely.
cost them more money
correct,
to run our system.
right.
So we just have to, but
Right.
we're doing pretty well. And so this letter, could I have approval to send this out in our next tax bill? Our
I'd
next,
move that we copy it and send it out to all our users.
with our next billing cycle.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll
Could I have a
second that.
second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All, any other questions, concerns about that? None, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, thank you. Let's see, the revised calendar of our meetings, there were just a couple of items on there that we had to change, but the new one that you got looks good to me. Did anyone else see anything? We just have to approve this to get to the town clerk. So,
Roger, can you hear me?
yes. I can hear
Okay,
you.
I just wanted to point out that we had submitted this was already approved, but Judy needed a 2022 meeting date.
Yep,
So that's the only revision here. And I actually found out I have a conflict. There are 2 meetings at the same time on March 23rd.
Okay,
So I am wondering if you would all consider a different time on March 23rd, maybe a 5 p.m.
okay.
or a 5:30.
What we'll do, Cindy, is put that on the agenda for our February meeting. And we'll just
Okay,
to hold a special meeting, whatever is good for us in that vicinity.
okay, that works. Thank you.
Cindy,
Okay. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Cindy, are you
Yes.
available either the 3rd or the 5th Tuesday? Or it's a Monday, I guess. I'm sorry. 3rd or the 5th Monday?
I didn't catch that question, Stu. I'm sorry.
Let's see, I think our date is the 23rd, right? Tuesday. So would you be available
Yes.
for a meeting on the 16th or the 30th?
Yes, I would be. It's just
Okay.
that the Board of Finance meets on the 23rd at 7 p.m., so that's
Right.
my conflict.
Okay,
Okay.
just my curiosity. Thank you.
So
Okay.
Monday would be good for you, Cindy, then.
Yes, well, the dates that Stu just brought up are Tuesdays.
Right.
Oh, okay, the
Um,
Tuesday before, or, okay.
The 16th and the 30th are both Tuesdays.
Okay, just put it on our agenda for February and we'll straighten that one out, Cindy.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep. And we don't have, it's already been turned into Judy, so, to town clerk, so the latest revision that you have is what we're going with. So if you just keep that handy, so you'll know when we have our regular meetings. Okay, let's see. Grinder pump repairs, system maintenance, number 6. Tim, you want to just mention what you've got tentatively scheduled?
Yeah, I called Neponset Controls to get a calibration or a recalibration on that, the meter. And Glenn's secretary and I agreed that later in March would be good. So right now it's tentatively set for the 24th. So who would you rather me get a hold of, Brian Lynch or Mike Diodato?
I would get a hold of Mike and let him deal with Brian if he thinks, even though it's outside of Brian's window there and he sees something going on.
Well, the last time Brian got pretty involved with it, so I mean,
Yeah,
and he was pretty cordial about it. So
yeah. Well, he can get pretty heated up. I know he wasn't cordial when I talked to him after he found you guys in there, so my ear's still ringing from him slamming down the phone.
yeah, but which time was that? That was the time before.
It may have been.
Yeah, that last time, I mean, we all got along pretty well. So
Okay, oh, that's good. You know, if you want to call each one of them and just let them know, I think that'd be safest,
all right.
okay?
Do that.
So, for John and Paul, the meter that, they bill us on is a meter on Peak Brook Road, by the brick building just before you get to their water plant down there.
Yep.
And, so what we've been recalibrating that at least once a year. We try to make it twice a year. Just to make sure that everything is looking okay and it's in good shape. That it's not giving us false readings.
So that's maintaining the meter, the flow meter.
That's maintaining the meter that Putnam uses to bill us on.
Yeah, the meter it uses a transducer down in a flume. And we like to make sure that, there's not a grease buildup down there and there's no spiders up in the cone. And everything hasn't been bumped down there and, and then just check the calibration on it.
And
There's a
so-
little history, John, that goes with it. We had a meter, or we had the receiving or sending meter was a little askew down there. And we paid a great deal of money to Putnam when perhaps we shouldn't have.
Yeah, we're working, they're working it off. I think we're gonna get things like, the pumps replaced. It's not gonna cost us anything to have them install that pump at the fairgrounds. Mike seems very compatible to work with, on, that, so,
So who does the maintenance work on the flow meter?
pardon?
Who's doing the maintenance work on the flow meters, on the flow meter?
That's Neponset, is doing, Neponset Controls is doing the recalibration of the meter itself.
Got it.
Yeah.
And,
Any
if we
maintenance on
need,
it-
like, they probably do it for a fee, but, if they find at the time that the flume is being built up with sand and dirt and all, that whole area is causing the flow to burble and false reading.
Right.
I think Putnam would clean it out for us. And they did one time, but then at that time, they didn't get the meter put back in the right place. And I think we were reading erroneous readings at that time too. But it was at the time that they were ending up with Suez and taking it back. They had problems of their own. And then with the high flows that we were paying for, I still haven't, I went to one of the meetings, but I just haven't got a whole report done on it, so we haven't got any money back yet. So. Let's see. Running the pumps. Oh, let's see. Okay, the flow reports. I guess if there's nothing more on number 6, anyone else got anything on number 6? System maintenance updates. We do have a change in the security people at the, for all the security systems in town. The town, unbeknownst to us, changed from Next Gen to a different company. And so I still haven't met with them. I want to show them what our system is like so they know what they're involved in. But we are getting calls from their security system when we have alarms go off. So everything is still working well in the security system. So
Hey,
anyway,
Roger,
yes.
I'm sorry, when you finish here, I wanted to back up just to the grinder pumps. I kind of
Okay.
must have been asleep.
Oh, not asleep. We'll get off the subject here every once in a while. That's all. Okay, you're on, Stu.
Yeah, I got earlier this month, I got a call from, Cindy had got a call from Parent Sanitation, who NEPS had called them to investigate the maintenance of their wet well. And through a couple of conversations with them, I ended up going down just to look around and try to help Parent with some information on that. I don't know what has transpired with NEPS and Parent, but one thing that caught my eye, NEPS has greatly increased their footprint on that property down there.
Oh, yeah.
They got a lot of buildings. They're putting up a couple more, and I don't expect us to do it tonight, but I think in the future, we need to revisit perhaps both NEPS and the service that they're getting from us.
Right. It would be interesting to know if they've dug any new wells and having more water flow than we know, or they're, I know they've taken over the house over and back on 171. But that's already, they're getting billed for that as an EDU, as a residential property. But I think you're right, Stu, with all the building in that corner of 169 and 171.
Yes,
Yep, I agree with you. We should take a look at that. So I'll put that on the agenda to take a look and consult with those guys to find out how many do we have flowing into our system. Because John and Paul, what we have done, at least since I've been chairman, that we find houses that have added apartments over garages or have, it's a multifamily house. We've had about, just off the top of my head, about a half dozen houses that we've added an EDU charge because they have an extra apartment.
Mhm.
So that everyone's consistent.
Yep.
And what I use for an example are the big apartment houses. We charge them 21 times in EDU because they have 21 apartments over there.
Oh, yeah, right.
So to be consistent, I've written people letters and doesn't make me popular or them happy, but I've written them letters indicating that your bill is going to be double what it was last year due to the fact that we found that you have two families living there and that we're going to be charging you an extra EDU charge. So we have picked up 6 or 7 EDUs since I've been chairman, I know. And like I say, it doesn't make us popular, but in order to be consistent, this is the way I'm putting it out to them.
Now, when you establish a baseline for an EDU, does it matter what size the house is?
No,
Number of bedrooms?
no,
So if you've got a 1-bedroom, let's say if you've got a 1-bedroom apartment and you're charging an EDU, one EDU unit, added on to a 5-bedroom house, let's say, that's just adding an extra bedroom. I know for on-site septic designs, it's always based on the number of bedrooms in the house for residential dwellings.
yeah,
The more bedrooms, the larger the septic system.
right. No,
Would it
this
take
has
large-
been established and we've changed a few things, but this is something that we haven't changed. The only thing that I can find that we can do in an honest fashion is, like I say, when we find that they've gone to a duplex,
Yep.
is, or even more, 3,
And given if you're talking single family, 2-family, obviously it's doubling up, no question about it. And if you got an apartment building, you don't know how many people are going to be in each apartment.
no,
So
no.
So you can't, obviously you can't dice it out. I was just wondering how you would deal with something like, somebody adding a single bedroom unit, like an in-law apartment or something like that, if they get approval to do that.
Well, if they get approval to do that, there was one on the corner of Butts Road and 171 on the
Yep.
right-hand side.
Yep.
Nice house. They added one an apartment above their garage and they were renting it out.
Yep.
And they got pretty upset with me when I sent them a letter saying that we're charging them 2 EDUs.
Mhm.
There's a house over on Harrisville Road that Cindy got a call from. They wanted to know about connecting to the sewer system. And they have asked before, but
Yep.
there's 2 separate houses over there. And
2 units.
I
2 EDUs.
said, we might only charge you 1 connection fee. And I'd bring that to the board, of course. We might only charge you 1 connection fee, but we're going to charge you 2 EDUs.
Right.
For your yearly chargers to
Yep.
keep everything
Yep.
fair among everyone on the system.
Mhm.
So that's
Right.
my only way of judging this. And what the other way I look at it is some of those houses where a husband and wife, man and woman live in a house and they both work.
Yeah.
They're being charged an EDU and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
probably, weekends are the only ones that really, it
Right.
really gets a lot of water, so.
Right. Mhm.
You know, if you want to
That's
look
true.
at things, it's
Yeah.
difficult, so.
Yep.
Right now, that's where we're at.
Okay,
Stu, that you just added, those comments were,
That was a really grind and pump repair and line maintenance. That's where
no, okay. All right.
sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. When, we want to make sure we cover everything and don't have to go back and, did everyone get a copy of the, weekly, meter? This is the flow that goes to Putnam and the way they charge us. And their quarters don't always run strictly by quarters, so that you can't always figure out where they took their 13 weeks from. But they get it all in there, so. These are our flows, and as you can see, the first part of 2021, we were really running real well there, 300, 40, 50. And those are real low flows for us down there. And then we have this one on 11/30, 1,013,400.
I saw that.
So, and that may have been the flow that we were seeing when we were, when we had the high water from the, at
Right.
the pumping station at the fairgrounds there.
Yep. You almost had 4 inches of rainfall.
Pardon?
I said, and you almost had 4 inches of rainfall.
Yeah, yeah, you look at the rainfall there too, it's
What it
pretty
was.
heavy.
Yep.
So, and
It's kind of crazy because it doesn't always correlate.
No,
but,
it takes a while for, if the ground's saturated, it shows up faster. If it's,
right.
if
So-
the ground's frozen, you
Right.
know, it does
So-
different things, so,
If it were a runoff problem, it would show up very quickly.
yeah,
But if it's a groundwater problem, you're right. It's gonna take a while. And if you have a particularly wet spring, you're gonna have sustained higher flows if you have groundwater getting in.
right,
Because eventually, like right now, or before we got frost in the ground, with all that rain that we had in December, before it got cold, the ground is saturated.
yeah,
And that will be sustained for a while until it freezes.
Yeah.
And depending upon where the water is coming in from a groundwater level, the frozen ground may seal it off,
yeah,
and your flows would go back down again.
yeah,
So beware when the frost comes out.
it's a fluctuating thing that's hard to put your finger on, really. But I think when we got, the reason we had those pipes repaired 3 or 4 years ago was that someone brought it to the state's attention that we were sending more flow than usual to Putnam.
Yep.
I think it was before they revamped their system down there.
Mhm.
And they were getting concerned. And so DEP told us we had to do something.
What was that, in 18?
Pardon?
Was that around 2018?
No, I think it was earlier than that.
Before that was when, who was it? Greasy or Robert
What's that?
Robert Gracie or Greasy or something that was head of the
Oh,
Dennis-
yeah. it was
Dennis
the-
Greasy?
Greasy.
Yeah,
Dennis,
right,
Dennis.
yeah.
I know
Yeah,
him.
so when was he? He was down there, what, 13, 14?
Yeah, I think it was in that area because
Okay.
it was before we actually did anything with our policies and procedure manual. So,
Well, we did quite a I&I study and repair over the 12, 13, 14.
Good.
right. We had Ty and Bond doing the study and following up and putting official information in for the state and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So,
Good.
let's see, and the rain, you see the rain on the amount of water that we've got pretty high totals there and, throughout the fall and, early, November, so.
Right.
We're probably still under for the year, but there's quite a bit of flow there, so. Anyways, that's where we're at. Anything more on the weekly meters or rainfall? I don't have anything, so we'll go on to payment of the bills.
Do we have any additional bills that have come in at all?
Cindy, I think, sent out the latest one today, and I don't think,
Roger, I just sent that to you
oh, you did,
with the
okay.
additional, yes.
Oh, all right, hang on a second.
I'll be right back.
Okay. The latest total
Hey,
is,
Roger, John
Yep.
just excused himself for a minute. Why don't you hold on just a minute?
okay,
Oh, I can't do that.
let me
Well,
just compare this to the one you guys have. Hang on a second, fellas, and we'll take a minute to,
Cindy, while Roger's doing that, is he looking over that bill that we got for the starting capacitors?
I think that's on there.
It is now, yes, that is one
Yeah.
of the updates. I do
That's,
have the bill in front of me.
That's,
It's like $94.
yes, $94, Peeler Electric, and I can give you an invoice number.
Nope, that's all right.
Okay. That's added. And, oh, you back, John?
Yep.
We're looking at the bills
Yep.
and, let's see. We got, the last one I had was a total of $44,670.51.
Yeah, what we got sent out was 44,356.68.
Okay, let me start at the top and I'll just run down these quickly on what the latest ones. The first one is the Eversource, it's nothing. And the reason that's nothing is the way the solar system, solar power works. Well, they don't both come in at the same, the Eversource and the solar bill don't come in at the same time.
Mhm.
So one will be zero one time and so you have Eversource, the second one down, 175.72. Frontier Communications at 43.80.
Yep.
Frontier at 44.11. And let me explain for John and for Paul. The electric bills and the Frontier Frontier Communications the treasurer has the authority, the board, WPCA has already voted that they go ahead and pay the bills in a timely fashion and
Utility
we'll
bills.
approve them. So
Right.
that's why you have two Frontier Communication. They've already may have been paid, but
Yep.
we're just approving them at this time. And
What was
usually
that?
like when,
Well,
yep, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Paul.
The second one for $44, that we don't have that one. What was that figure again?
4380, and then the Frontier for 4411.
4411, thank you.
Okay. And then Chaput Electric, 125.
Yep.
One after that is Kinsley, for the rebuilding, changing the radiator on the generator
Mhm.
for 381720.
Yep.
Venture Communication, 25460. Peel Electric for $2,500.
Yep.
That's for the pump they rebuilt.
Correct.
Then there's the Peel Electric for the capacitors. Usually when Glenn notices that we're running low on something down at the Connex container, he'll let me know. And I'll give Cindy the list and she'll order it. So that's the capacitors I think she just ordered. The Town of Putnam, that's our quarterly bill.
Yep.
And Deep Six Plumbing and Heating, replacement of number one pump, the capacitors and
So how much were the capacitors from Pila?
$94, Peel Electric.
Got it.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Okay.
forgot that.
And up at the top, you had mentioned 175.72. Who was that?
Yes, that was Eversource.
The source.
Thank you.
Now before, and that should total $44,670.51. Cindy, if you could chime in, you agree with that?
Sorry, here I am. Yes, that, it should total that if I did my math correctly.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure I was working on the right bill, so.
Can you
Yes,
give
that's
us
the
that
most recent one.
one more time, please, the total?
$44,670.51.
Thanks.
And so that, if I could have a motion to approve those bills for a total of that amount?
So moved. Stuart.
Okay, second that, someone?
Second it.
John, second it. Any
Oh,
more
Jim.
questions about the bills? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, everyone, thank you. The correspondence at the bottom is what Cindy has received and the questions she's had. I don't know whether anything more as the people on Harrisville Road. There was a real estate agent that was asking a question about whether they could join, whether they were in the sewer system or not, was one of her first question, and then how much it was to connect. And so I checked it out, and they are in the system. I drove out there because it gets pretty tricky in that area. If you look at our sewer map, they've made a pretty funny, beyond me why they made it like that, but anyone with it not within the system cannot join the system unless their system is
Failed.
falling apart and they've got no place for a reserve.
Right.
So, but these two houses are within the system, so if they wanted to, they could join the system.
They're within the. sewer.
Roger,
Pardon?
I went out and looked at that, off Harrisville Road. The, 181 is a piece of property that's for sale.
Yeah,
And then they've got 177 is a house right on the front. 179 confuses me a little bit. There's a garage way in the back. Is there
yes.
an apartment above the garage?
I believe so. That used to be, the last time they came to us to join the system, ask about joining our system, that was just an apartment. I've seen where they've been revamped that, and it looks like there's an apartment above the garage on that place. So if they proceeded, I'd have to go out there, or one of us would have to go out there and talk with them and see what is joining the system before we give them a final figure on what it's going to cost them to join the system, and also what their yearly fees are going to be.
Is 177 and 181 connected to our service?
No, neither one.
So that means that because you say 179 is in the district, 177 and 181 are in the district?
Yeah, it takes a real weird dip there on our map.
Okay.
But I looked on the computer on the not MapQuest, whatever it is when you bring up on the system there, and I looked at it, and it falls within our the barrier of our system. The garage in back and those two houses in front, the two houses are very small little houses.
Yep.
They're on the road there. So, but I don't know. Cindy, have you heard any more? Have they progressed with this at all?
No, they haven't, Roger. I did reach out to Kristen, and I never received a return call.
Okay, she was the real estate agent, right?
Yes.
I think she might have been out there with the fire marshal or someone. When I drove by there were people looking at the house and seemed to be having quite a discussion at one of the houses there. So, but unless they then request an application, I just, it's at rest right now. So. Oh, and also Doug heard at the apartment houses, those 21, 23 apartment houses on 171.
Brookwood.
Asked about a warning system. Could they connect a warning system up? And to my way of looking at it, because they're all renters in there. He doesn't have, he did have David was their like the manager, on site manager, and he lived right there, but now he's moved out and they have a company out of Putnam somewhere that are handling it now.
Yep.
And so anytime the alarm goes off, you don't have a manager on site. And he wanted to know about putting in an alarm system. And from my point of view, as long as he had that alarm system going to his managers, and they look at it first before they call us for every time the thing goes off. I don't want to be running down there, or Stu doesn't, or whatever. So at their expense, hook it to their system, and then have the manager call us. We'll address the problem.
Roger, this is Cindy. When I was speaking with Doug, he was just looking for recommendations on some, what is out there that they could possibly use for his new property manager. I don't think he was ever thinking that we would pay for anything. He was just
Okay.
wondering if we could,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
recommend something
yeah,
to
Well,
help them out.
yeah. Well, I've talked to him before, and I can, and I have the new management company, which I'd like to at least sound them out and see what form my own opinion on what we can expect from them. At that time, I can forward to them the information that, yes, there's systems available, high water alarms, electrical alarms that'll go off if the electricity dies to the system, stuff like that. So things they might want to do. So I'd recommend that as long as you people go along with it. I'll recommend they protect themselves from overflowing septic system, wet wells, that's all.
So would their property manager then have access to the wet wells?
Yeah, well, they do now.
That's fine then.
Yeah,
Then that would be fine.
yeah, okay. That's the way I look at it. I don't want 23 people, when they hear the alarm going off, calling us.
Right. So if something does go wrong with the wet well system and there's a failure, they've got to let us know what's going on. But we can give them a call down list of companies that they can engage with to fix their problem. Is that how this works?
Well, they're not one of the houses that has changed property since we came up with that new
Or
policy.
we're still overseeing it.
We're still overseeing and paying for it, so. And they've been good. David, the past on-site manager, has been pumping it yearly, each one of the wet wells, has been pumping them to keep them clean.
Yep.
And, which we recommended to him.
Mhm.
And then he would call us or Glenn if there was a problem. But then Glenn, if Glenn knew he hadn't asked us ahead of time, usually Glenn would give us a call to let us know he was going up there and they had a problem.
Yep.
So.
John, we've made sure everyone out in the system that has grinder pumps understands that they are not authorized to call a plumber and then have us be responsible for the bill. They've got to go through us.
Right.
We've got to approve the service call before we take over responsibility of it.
Yeah, right.
Right, we've set that.
But in
with
the
them.
future, with the property transfers, in future property transfers, where the new homeowner is responsible for that, that's them to do. We can provide them a list of who they could go to if they don't know who to go to, but it's
Right.
on their dime and it's up to them to have it fixed.
Right,
Correct. The reason I pointed that out, what I said was because when we originally got into this a number of years ago, there were quite a few people that were calling that we were responsible for the wet wells, but they were calling the plumber direct
No, I get it.
before we had
And-
it.
I think that's where we ran into the 4-family on 169 down by Data General, our high school.
Yep.
And they were calling direct and finding out that they weren't being kind to their system and it was their fault,
Right.
so. We've stressed it a number of times with them, so.
Roger, if you talk to that property manager down there and give them like Kevin's name for Venture Communications, or he would. probably be able
Oh,
to
I
set
can,
them-
yeah, I can give them Kevin's name or the new people's name or,
Yeah. Yeah, because Kevin's pretty familiar with the system and he may be able to hook something up for him that would,
Yeah.
relay the information down there to the new
Oh.
property manager.
yeah,
Because-
and he might be interested in doing that because he did have the whole town on his security system and he lost the whole town.
Yeah.
They just changed to this new company for some reason, didn't inquire with us to, or let us know they were doing it, but I just heard through the grapevine that they had a new security.
Well,
Whoa,
we don't necessarily have to go with their new security system though, do we? We could stick with Venture if we wanted to.
well, yeah, I don't know.
We pay the bill,
We pay the bill, right?
but I'm not overly happy with Venture. I mean, getting a call out of New Hampshire,
Well,
you-
now we get a call out of Vermont. So
oh,
if you get a call from Vermont, the security system for these people is in Vermont.
oh,
So,
for Murdoch?
yeah, Murdoch, yeah.
He's in for, oh, geez. Now, the
So-
other thing too is I can't imagine that the new property manager is going to be as hands-on, certainly as the.
That's why I want to meet with them and kind of feel them out to see what I think we can expect.
Yeah, because the other guy must have had some sort of a rapport with the folks that lived there, and keep reminding them about what they could do and what they couldn't do, and because
Yeah,
we had
and
really
when we
good luck.
when we sent him these notes, he used to pass it out to the apartment dwellers there
Mhm.
to let them know what they should do, whether they read it or not. If they have a problem, it's usually the end of the month or the first of next month, you can tell that they changed, somebody left and flushed everything down the toilet,
Jeez.
and the same with the four family.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, clearly apartment buildings
yeah,
are a very important place to make sure
right,
they get the word about your when not to flush document.
yeah,
Because those are probably some of the worst offenders you're going to see.
oh, yeah,
People that don't own the property that they live in, that don't really care when they leave, like you're saying.
no,
Those apartment houses, those are on private wells, right? They have their own
Yep.
well system.
yeah,
So
They-
the good thing for them is if there is a power outage, they're not going to be using that much more water because
yeah,
even with a even with a well pump and a large pressure tank system, there's only so much water you're going to be able to generate before
yeah,
it's not going to be able to regenerate by pumping it out of the well. So when
No.
you lose power, you're not going to generate as much sewage.
yeah, yeah. And what they do is that if they have a problem with David on site,
Yep.
what he would do is he'd shut the water off to that apartment house
Right.
if it was getting near the high level mark.
Correct.
So like you say, with these people in Putnam, I'm real skeptical as to the problems we're going to foresee.
Right. Right. The good news is with like a water supply well system, you got a limited amount of water before the pressure goes down.
Yeah.
If you're on public water, you have a totally different problem on your
Oh,
hands.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you almost have to have a backup generator system for that wet well and that sewage lift system. Otherwise,
Right.
you got a real problem on your hands.
If they had a pressure system,
Public water,
public water, yeah, then I'd be concerned about
Right.
whether our system kept running or not.
correct.
So, Cindy, Williamson Pump and Motor Inquiry.
Yeah, so I received this inquiry that came through the website, and I was just curious if, as you read through, if I do, get some literature from him, is there anything specifically that you'd want to receive?
Okay, a
Um,
lot of times these pump systems, they handle both clean water and sewer water. So we're really mainly involved in the sewer system. So anything on that line, just like we get from the state, we get all this information about clean water. And what happens if the electricity goes out and your system goes down or something like that. I disregard that because the only thing I'm concerned with is the sewer systems and stuff like this. So
Okay.
from my point
I
of
know
view,
it's just a name that you all bring up quite frequently, so I wasn't sure if there was anything specific
Yeah.
that you wanted to
yeah.
get.
Oh, Cindy, also that, I meant to bring that up on Cindy found on what was it in the newspaper? Cindy? that
It
you-
was on, it was WINY,
Okay.
their Facebook newsfeed.
It sounds like there's, Putnam is doing quite a bit of updating to the system, but they said, I'm just paraphrasing what I remember your article said, that doesn't look like the price of from our point of view would increase for this coming year. So price per thousand, they charge us per
They're not gonna-
1,000
They're not
gallons.
going to change the rate that we pay.
Yeah, and we increased our rate a couple of years ago to take care of this high flow.
Yep.
And we're still not, so we're on a plus side still. So,
Yeah, it looks like it in looking at your budget.
yeah. Yeah, we're in a good position, so I don't foresee that we'll be increasing our costs to the our EDU costs or
Right.
to the metered customers.
Right.
For this coming year. But everyone, if you look at that budget and kind of gauge what we're doing for flows for the next couple of months.
Mhm.
Because we only have a certain length of time before we have to let Linda know if we're going to increase the
Sewer assessment.
costs. She has to make out the bills and she needs a little bit of lead time.
Mhm.
So, anyone else have anything?
I got two things. First of all, Cindy, if you'd, I'm sure you're going to do it, but if you'd send out contact information for John to all of us, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, I will.
And then the other thing is, I'm questioning, Roger, don't we usually start to work on the budget, in February or March?
February, March, usually by the time I'm
When you
going,
come back from your sabbatical.
yeah, when I come back from my sabbatical, right. With this Zoom stuff, you can't get far enough away. So, hey, it's always nice seeing you fellas and talking with Cindy. So I appreciate you guys and all you do. And so, but we'll start looking at the budget maybe the end of next month. That sound all right?
Oh,
Well,
Roger,
that's-
on the, on your flow calendar that you created,
Yep.
starting the budget review is listed in April.
April, yeah. Okay, I like to get a little bit of a head start because I start getting figures together to substantiate anything I'm going to bring up to you guys or everyone.
Okay,
Okay, that's good. I appreciate that, Cindy, that you brought that up. So, let's see, I think that's about it for anyone. If no one else has anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, I guess.
So moved.
Okay,
Second that.
okay, all in favor? Let's go home. Oh, we're already home. Hey, you guys have a nice